Hey, this is Mako. We're going to go back into Ember Prime. So I added the Pakal armor to her. As we all know, I was having way too much fun with the Dragon Khan on her, so made her look a little more samurai-like. And the flame head just, I don't know, it works with it. So as you remember this, or may not know, this is my Heart of Fire build. That was what I called it when I originally designed it because it's based around a rage regen concept. So the rage gives you energy if you are hurt, and the regeneration heals you. Pretty simple concept, right? Get hurt, get energy, and then you heal. Also, here's my Carrier Prime build. I was asked this in a message if I could show this off. It works well. Now, the only change I've done to the Dragon Icona besides the stance is just a little more to buff up damage, because I was having a little trouble in endgame, and I have changed all my other stance builds to this. Not the Blind Justice, of course, but just the basic setup. The Blind Justice does the most hits per second, and in terms of endgame, that's what you really need to do. It's like Twin Fang versus Swirling Tiger. Swirling Tiger has 6 hits. Twin Fang does at most, I think, 2. The Furious build, remember, not damage or kill based. This is just to get hurt. You know, if you are hurt, you hurt the enemy a little bit with your little tiny bullets and you get your HP back. We got 2 builds for the Simulor now, a Viral and Corrosive build. Now, people have told me this is a little bit of an OP setup, but you know, a lot of people weren't going to design this as a crit build, so I'm glad I made my own little, you know, inspirational thought there. Now, this is the C build. This is the B build, the original build that we, you know, classify as Heart of Fire. And from that, you know, we got 1,000 views on it. I guess it's popular. Now, this is the more spam version of this, and this is the endgame. So A is endgame, B is, you know, beginning to mid-game, and so is C. But C is more of a quicker cast version of B. So there are 3 versions. Try them out. I have more luck with A and endgame just because the little more shields you get and a little more HP kind of saves you. And that's what you need for sorties, which are, you know, 90 to 100 plus level enemies. Overall, I've been also asked why didn't I use Blind Rage or Transient Fortitude, because in truth this build is very fine-tuned. Check it out. You can spam all your powers, duration doesn't really hurt anything much except for your Fire Blast and Accelerant, and that's just more of you just recast it. And you want spam recast to stun lock, so there is a reason and strategy to how you play the, you know, Heart of Fire Ember. With this build, not much difference. Either the slight changes between build with, say, like Transient Fortitude, it actually does really hurt your... doesn't do any much, you know, difference, just a little bit more, and it hurts your Accelerant more, so, and it hurts your Fire Blast. That's why Intensify was used. Oh, there it is, Blind Rage. I know, I just saw it. Totally. Now, Blind Rage totally nukes the whole reason behind the Heart of Fire, which was spammable powers. You want to quickly spam CC enemies so you can come up and kill them. That's the whole point of this Ember build. You want to be able to stun enemy, run up, do a whole bunch of damage, take it down, go to the next enemy. Transient Fortitude. Again, the buffs are there, but it's just not as well set up as where you just had Intensify, which is positive. Doesn't hurt you, it just gives you that buff, which is really nice. So let's go check her out. So we're going to look in the Dragon Icona first. So we'll grab my beloved Decisive Judgment, Tranquil Cleave, and Blind Justice. A little toxic taste in my mouth when I say that. In truth, I do not like Blind Justice. Its stance combos just never have been my favorite to implement. It's kind of harder. For this one is right trigger, 3 hits, and then the final hit. Final 3 doing the big smack, do the most damage. You can get multiple hits in a spin attack, And then your quick attack, which is hold B, is very effective. Mid-air attack is pretty much the same for all Nikana stances, it's just one direct slash forward. And mainly I like the Decisive Judgment because you can just quickly spam the B attack and it criticals, you do multiple hits, and it can knock enemies in the air. So that's crowd control. So they're not just knocked down, they're in the air, so not only do they have to now fly a little bit, land, then get up type of ragdoll. Tranquil Cleave is not as effective in that sense, where it's combos. Oh, sorry. It changes it out. My bad. So, you do multiple hits, and then you can do a spinning lunge forward. There's no real AoE effect or ragdoll way that I have had, any luck with. It does have these big arcs, so if you are just going against one big enemy, it can do a lot of damage here because of that multiple 6 hit. But, in all honesty, you can intermix the combos. Unlike Deceptive Judgment, Blind Justice and Tranquil Cleave, you can combine combo attacks. And can do charge attack, unlike Decisive Judgment. Now, granted, Tranquil Cleave's, charge attack is worthless in terms of actually doing damage. What do I mean by that? It does not do much more damage than just spam hitting them. That's kind of my problem with the charge attacks in general, why I don't really like them, unless they're going to ragdoll an enemy or lunge me forward enough that it actually does something. It's kind of useless. Because it doesn't do any more damage, it's just, taking up time with an animation, which looks cool, but, in real, true effect, it's pointless. Makes you sitting duck, basically. You're sitting there taking damage. There is a petition to make that go away, by the way. To make it to where you're unknockdownable while doing that. The animation for a charge attack. Now let's do the right trigger combo. Does multiple hits, slashes, hit, slash, and then blast. So it does knock them in the air, same as with my Decisive Judgment, but it does a big area, not just one enemy. And your normal attack does a spin hit. You also do this quick lunge attack that slices forward. It's a little more smoother than it was before U18. As you can see, the lunge forward attack does damage the entire length of time you are lunging forward. Now this is the combo that you want to use, that spinning, slashing uppercut. That does the most damage per second of the Dragon Nikana stances. What do I mean by that? I mean, just watch how many times you're hitting there. When it's doing that, attacking with the lower part of the blade, unlike this part, it does multiple quick little hits that still do the same amount of damage as a split like this. So look, boom, 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 and then it just widens out and keeps doing more and more, and then you rush forward, do a spin attack, a hit attack upward, and then another lunge upward. It is a ridiculous amount of damage you can do per second just with that move set. And that's the hold attack combo, by the way. Also, gotta look cool. Right? Right. Or hot, I guess in this case with Ember. Little pun there. So let's go test this out. Now that I think about it. Oh, cool animation with the sword. Each stance does such a cool little animation thing. It's the, little details that make it fun. Now, before we go into this in nitty-gritty detail as promised, let's do some quick talk. Let's grab Firefright. I just wanted to give you a notice that the Firefright seems to have been broken somewhat in U18 for the console on Xbox One, because that's what I'm on. I know some of my viewers are, PSN, PC, and Xbox One, but I thought I'd just point out that community-wise, we have noticed that some of these augments are broken, like my Nova's was just recently fixed, which was the Antimatter Absorb. Now, in all honesty, they should be running away and not pointing at me. That was what the benefit of Firefright did. Now again, notice the shield is taking a big bunch of the damage. I'm not really hurt. Boom. Go away, little heavy gunners. They're irritating me. Because you're supposed to be able to do this, and not only are they on fire, but they run around in circles screaming. And they're not doing that. it's a broken augment. So I hope they fix this. I'm also going to put a notice in the patch issues about this. You know, submit a support ticket. Because I did notice this when I was testing this. So, and in all honesty, I never really used Firefright anyway, because the whole concept of Firefright is more like your Necros Terror. And let's face it, it does a little CC, but not as much as, you know, Firequake would do. Firequake is just constant being bashed down and knocked down by the fireballs, which is awesome, let's not lie. So, jump down, around. I have a lot of fun knocking them down. Come up here, slice them up with the Dragon Arcana. This is kind of what you would just normally do. This is the benefit of this build. You can just quickly knock enemies down, shred through them. Whoa! Get hit by a knockdown. Remember, Accelerant does stun enemies as well as buff your flaming or heat-based damage attacks, which includes your primary, secondary, and melee weapons. So that's why I have heat on my primary, and melee. Don't really need it on the Furious. The Furious is mainly just to get HP. I don't care about buffing its damage. That's not what it's for. Remember, Fireball can also stun enemies. Basically, to make her endgame, they have converted Ember to be a CC spammer. Or at least that's how I'm built mine to be. Fireball, Firequake, Accelerant, and World of Fire. By the way, I meant Fire Blast instead of Firequake. Yeah, that. Fire Blast. Each of these things are very spammable. They don't take a lot of energy. You can just quickly hit them. And I know my stupid vacuum is feeding it, but you have to give it credit. This is with our spam build. You can just quickly cast everything, shred through your enemies, and just have a whole lot of fun. Now please note the draw range of just doing this. I could spam this all day. Now when your World of Fire is active, it will drain it much faster, so just an FYI. But let's not forget, you should also be using your Simulor, as Simulor gives you energy. Well, sorry about that. I actually froze my game for a sec there. I had to restart again. That was very odd. Downside of console. Take that as you will. So, C build is great for spamming, B build is great for range and damage, and A build is more for taking damage and survivability. That's why I'm giving you 3 builds, not just your initial first, and then 2.0, we've got 3 setups that can go into 3 different areas of combat style. Very effective, very fun. And let's not forget, Fireball and Firequake and Accelerant and... Sorry, Fire Blast me, I keep getting those wrong. All can stun enemies as well as Accelerant. Now, this is where your energy comes from if you're not getting damaged. Cyanoid Simulor, innate power is to do a magnetic blast, and when it does that magnetic blast, you get energy based on the percentage of your total energy that is currently in your, power right there. For some reason, this still isn't working in the simulation, and it's probably because we're not gaining affinity. That's the only rational reason I can think of. So, spam build is fun, but again, I tend to run B or A more often. Spam build is just if I just want to mess around and have a lot of fun just hitting enemies really quickly. Overall, you can change any of these builds any which way. This is just my Heart of Fire builds, so... Now let's be a little more serious here and shred through these enemies. Now notice it does a 360 attack and then shreds through them. So the Dragon Arcana is very viable in endgame because it does do multiple enemies. And if you ever watched Rurouni Kenshin, it's like Hiti Mitsurugi style. You do multiple strikes really quickly and just shred through them. Again, Firequake, Accelerant, probably the 2 I'm doing more. And I do mean Firequake, which is World of Fire's augment, because Accelerant can spam you just stun them and then you shred them with the Dragon Icona, which is buffed via its heat damage by Accelerant. It also slows enemies, blinds them for a little bit, and as you can tell, just quickly tears through them. They're being knocked down, they can't even touch me. If they do damage me, the shield is taking most of the damage. So, very efficient. Ooh. As you see, I have 192 shields left from that. Let's end this. He's already dead. Sorry about that. You are not a worthy opponent. I hate ancients. We all know this. So, all builds are perfectly viable in endgame, but you will run into more trouble with B and C. So basically B, C are fun to use, but overall if you're going to be a little serious or you need that, you know, little extra survivability, go with A. Now, I'm going to demonstrate something. When combating these heavy gunners, I've noticed some issues here in the simulation area. Firequake is more than capable of destroying them as is the Simulor. This is our viral build. Now something I've noticed while using corrosive, viral, slash, a bunch of different damage types, you'll notice that the HP instantly regenerates. And that was kind of my problem with the Dragon Icona, is when I was using Decisive Judgment, they were instantly getting their HP back and I just basically have to keep killing them over and over. I was focusing on one unit and they were basically ganging up and killing me. The Blind Justice actually elevated this to where I can shred through them even when they do that, so take it as you will. That's the reason why I decided to go with Blind Justice, as it showed effectiveness even during this weird issue. So, good through them. See what I mean? Quick, effective, tears them down even before they can have their little weird glitch to get their HP back. Now, I hope this discussion on the Heart of Fire build has really helped you guys understand the different, weapons and, styles of play with it. Another thought, when using the Simulor, 2 orbs will instantly collect and create this central damaging orb. Now, if you collect orbs, now watch, it can gather orbs from farther away when it's that way. A lot of people will try to do rapid fire versions of this, but that's not how you should be playing, at least in my opinion, because what I'll do is I'll shoot a bunch of these behind me and run away, and they'll all collect into one central orb, and then the rest of them, are just stacking rapidly into it, which is doing more and more damage at a higher rate than if you could fire yourself. That's why I play with the split chamber build than a, rate of fire build. Now, as our shield enemy is basically vaporized in a couple of seconds, you can clearly see she's very effective against Corpus and machine type enemies as well. Overall, Heart of Fire build has been very entertaining, and I had a lot of fun building it and just further developing it to get it to the point where it was very fun for me, even into sorties. So, just a quick thank you for watching the, vids. I hope the builds help. That's the whole reason they're here, is just a helpful, step up, so you don't have to try to figure this out for yourselves over a long period of times. So, thanks for watching. Enjoy the Heart of Fire build. Bye.